watching IntoWineTV, and today we're at Incanto in San Francisco tasting sparkling wines. And this is the Ca di Pietra Pinot Prosecco Melrose IGT. Maybe you guys can tell me what IGT stands for exactly.
IGT, in English terms anyway, means it's an indication of geographic typicity, meaning that certain varietals fall under that particular law. And those varietals are what's basically in the bottle. And and probably for most purposes, it's a marketing, somewhat of a marketing tool. People know by the actual area and the bottle saying IGT, what grapes will actually be in the bottle. And so they're able to figure out exactly what they're drinking, hopefully.
So this is 100% Pinot Noir, which is why it's got a slightly pinkish color. The bubbles are fine, the nose is very attractive, and I think this wine at $15 a bottle really over-delivers. It's a beautiful packaging, in my opinion. Well, actually a beautiful shaped bottle. I don't particularly like the label, but that's it's a bit feminine. But it's a beautiful bottle. It's a good quality wine for the price. I think it's a definite winner in my book.
Well, obviously Bartholomew's nose is way more acute than mine, because I'm not really getting much aromatics on this wine. To me, this wine seems to be a little restrained. And normally from Italian sparkling wines, I do expect a very kind of a generous aromatic structure, and for some reason I'm just not really getting a lot of flavor.
I know exactly what you mean. I'm translating that really more into elegance rather than in your face.
Yeah, you're right. In that sense,
subtlety.
Sure.
There's a subtleness to this, and on the palate, it's actually got pretty good length. You take a sip and it doesn't leave your mouth dry, and it's really nice. It's good persistence.
I have two comments about the wine. One concerning the packaging. It's a little bit confusing. On the back label, it says 100% Pinot Noir, but the wine on the front label is referred to Pinot Prosecco. Prosecco is a grape, just as Pinot Noir is a grape. Prosecco is a grape as well. It's not a geographic term. It's not a place. So that's a little bit confusing.
Italians they have a love of confusing wine
they
consumers.
usually don't make things easy. The other thing that stands out about the wine, or that's interesting, it's almost an education or a textbook type of thing, is that you really find out what Pinot Noir brings to the blend. If you were drinking a champagne that had, let's say, Chardonnay, or Franciacorta that had Chardonnay along with Pinot Bianco and Pinot Noir, this is a great example of, you really figure out what Pinot brings to the blend. It brings some backbone, it brings some weight, some mid-palates.
Absolutely.
And being that it's 100% Pinot Noir, we really can use this as a lesson to come to understand why Pinot is such a great addition when you're drinking sparkling wines that are a blend that do include Pinot Noir.
Yeah, and actually this is a wine, because of that very reason, that it's actually a wine that goes very well with food. So you don't just need to drink this on its own as an aperitif. You can have it with, in fact, when I was representing Veuve Clicquot for a while, when I worked in Canada, I went to Champagne Terrasse, and in the course of 4 days, we ate every lunch and dinner at a different 2- or 3-star restaurant, and we had champagne throughout every meal, and it's amazing how well it works. And
absolutely.
I think this has the caliber that it could be drunk throughout a meal.
Through the entire meal. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And once again, great example that these wines will work through the entire dinner. And I think it's interesting because a lot of people don't understand that, but they really don't recognize that. They don't know that.
Well,
these aren't just for appetizers and cheeses and so forth.
You're an importer, as I am, and I'm curious to know what you'd think. If I was importing this wine, I would tell the producer for the US market to change the label, because I don't think it's a very good label.
Yeah, I agree with you. But the moment I want to go back to your comment about the food, because the moment you mentioned food, and I kind of initially forgot about it, but the moment you mentioned food, my perception of this wine changed quite dramatically, because I immediately imagined myself having a nice plate of like cold meats Italian cold meat, some salami, maybe some prosciutto, and sipping on this. I mean, I think it'll be a fantastic pairing for that sort of thing. But yes, I find, yeah, maybe it's slightly tacky, that label. I would maybe make it, I'm not really sure what bothers me about it, but it's
weak.
It's weak. I think weak is a good, yeah.
It's a solid wine, solid bottle.
It's weak
great packaging, but
it
just
doesn't
label.
pop. It doesn't jump out at me and say, you know.
And the whole shame of it is
sort of out of date.
It's going to detour people from purchasing.
What do you think?
Some people won't purchase it because of that, but it's they'd really be missing out at $15 retail.
I'm a big fan.
No, but I do really enjoy the wine, and I'm curious how often are sparkling wines made with different grapes, you know, with the Pinot Noir or some other untypical sparkling wine grapes.
Just going back to the label, because the wine is important, obviously, but the producer needs to know that in the US, more than 50% of the purchasing decisions is based on the label, especially for sparkling wine.
Sparkling wines, yes.
It's all about the label. So, you know, 75, 80% sales, I would say that they could increase their sales by 75 to 80% just by making the label pop a bit more.
Well, hopefully they're watching.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, because it's a good wine. Really like it.
So we love the wine, maybe not the label as much, but if you can get beyond the label, we highly recommend picking this one up at $15 a bottle. It's a great value. Again, it's the Pietra Pinot Prosecco. We'll see you next time on Into Wine, and thanks again for joining.